went home that day and I was like, it's like looking in my eyes, it's like, I couldn't see it. I couldn't even get it down. Yeah. And so I went to the office the next day. They said, well, you need to go to this place. And, it was working at night. So this happened at night. So the next day I went to this place and looked at it. And they said, okay, we can't do anything. We tried to take it out. We can't do anything. You go to this other place. And the whole time, it just felt like it was so fine. It didn't bother my vision. And so by the time the next day I went to that place, my eyeball had already broken over top. That's how bad. They had to zap it, like eat it, so that the skin would get pulled out. Just a piece of metal. I mean, it was a little tiny speck. You could see that. It was weird because they didn't give me a shot like I can't remember. They gave me a shot or something. Yeah. Or no, they give me some drops. That's what it was. And then, let's go ahead and move back to here. We get started. And make sure y'all put the house machine. And the guy, he was like looking at it, so his eyeball was like this big. Looking at me. And then the next thing they did was he reached in and grabbed it. It was crazy. You win!
Where's the top of it? No! Whatever's in my hair. Please don't!
Listen up real quick. We're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, we have lots of announcements and stuff to talk about before we get started. But before we get into that, thank you for being here. We're excited that you're here. I'm sure we'll have some more trickling in and join us as we get started. But I'm glad that each of you are here. Y'all know I'm a believer of purpose. I believe there's a reason you're here. I believe that God does things for a reason. And so we may not always know those reasons, but I do believe that every single one of you is here for a reason. But sometimes we have to be willing to open our eyes and recognize what that is. Sometimes it may just seem like random that you're at Encounter or at a church building facility. You may have no clue what's going on right now. That's fine. But God does know what's going on. And so tonight as we sing, as we pray, as we talk, as we have discussion groups, keep that in mind. Keep in mind the fact that God does things for a reason. And so maybe there's something that's said tonight. Maybe it's not even something I say. Maybe it's something you hear in a song. Maybe it's something that someone else says in your small group. But let's have our ears and our eyes open to what God is trying to tell us tonight. Because God does speak to us. Sometimes He's speaking through other people. Sometimes He's speaking through His Word. But let's just listen. We often talk about talking to God. And I think that's huge and important. But it's also important that we listen. It's also important that we listen. Listen. There He is. All right. So good. So we're going to do that tonight. All right. Hey, a few announcements. Let's get this started. A few of you are coming in. BT Dub. I'm coming in straight from Florida, so if I'm a little all over the place tonight, I apologize. We'll try to get this right. I had to go tell you that beforehand because it's going to be crazy. All right, so Favorite 30 at the Harmons. That's October 13th. You know what that is? Every 30 days, we have a 30-minute devotional, roughly, at one of our houses. This one's going to be at the Harmon's house. Raise your hand, Hayden, his house. We're going to play some games. We're going to have some singing. We're going to have a devotional, have some free food. That's always good. And so that's 30 for 30, okay? That's coming up October 13th. Be here for that. Be here at 5:15. We all take the bus over, or you can drive over if you know where his house is at. He lives over off of Arno Road. So a good time with that. That's October 13th. We're back at the building by 8:15 for those of you that ride the bus. Any questions about 30 for 30s? You don't need anything, don't have to bring anything. It's all a lot of fun. All right, cool. All right, this is something new. All right, this is something new. Check this out. All right, so a little false propaganda, but we are going to a haunted house on Saturday, October 19th. However, I haven't fully decided where we're going yet. Last year we did Miller Stillers. It was a lot of fun. It was a super long line. And all we did was we did the shoot zombie part. We didn't get to the haunted house part because it was such a long line. I'm open to maybe other areas. So if you know of like, hey, I heard so-and-so Nashville is the best, send it to me. I'll research it. We'll see, okay? Because I'm open to going somewhere new, but we're going to go somewhere on the 19th. So go ahead and plan on that. We'll go pretty early because lines do get long, and I'm not trying to be out all night. You know, I got a little one I got to get back to. So we're gonna try to do that, but we're gonna go a little early. We're gonna make it. Y'all remember last time Caroline was there? We were out late. I had to preach the next morning. I was like, this is not what I
get out of this one too.
All right. So that'll be fun. Mark your calendars for that. I'll get prizes to you. It won't be anything over $20, I promise. All right. Hey, here's a big one. Listen. Fall Retreat, November 8th through 10th. This is an event you don't want to miss, guys. This is where we go to Deer Run. We're going to stay in this big cabin together. Girls on one side, guys on the other. We're going to have a few sessions. It's all about up, your relationship with God. And we're going to have guest speakers come in and talk about that. We're going to have games. We're going to have some indoor games, some outdoor games. We're still working on what else it's going to look like, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Cost is $75. If that's an issue, talk to me. We want you there. Forms are downstairs on the tables. We also have forms over here, but we want you at Fall Retreat, okay? So if you want to be there, let me know. We'll get you a form. We'll get you there, okay? November 8th through 10th, get signed up for that. Forms are due October 13th. That's coming up just a few weeks, so let's get those forms in. If you have questions about the notarization part for Deer Run, I'm going to figure out if that's a necessity or not, but try to get that done. If not, talk to me. We'll figure it out, okay? Any questions about Fall Retreat? Tell some of you who've never been to our Fall Retreats. Give it a chance. I know, even if you're nervous, I'm not going to know anyone there. Just go. It's going to be a blast, all right? Any questions? It's your time to ask questions. All right. Cool. Anything else that's on there? Okay. We talked about our new YouTube channel. Follow that if you haven't already. A few other things I want to talk about. A few big announcements we have. One is we just started these. These are called visitor engagement cards. We have a few visitors here tonight that scored a new T-shirt because of this. So this is what I want you to see. We have these little cards. If there's a visitor here, we want them to be encouraged. We want them to feel part of what's going on here at Mary's Chapel. And so what we're doing is we're giving them a chance to follow our Instagram page, subscribe to our YouTube account, give us a little information on them, and then in turn they get a free BCYG T-shirt. So props to the ladies back here. They got one of those. Wrap it. You got your shirts with you? Yeah?
We got
Let's
it.
see what you got. Okay. Oh,
Show
go with the
it.
yellow?
Show it to me.
All right, little BC swag. All right, so that's how it works, all right? And so some of our students, serving students, program members will be helping you out with that. But you can also help with that, okay? Because we want our visitors to feel welcome here. You are welcome here, and we're glad you're a part of this. Here, another super exciting announcement, guys, is if you haven't heard, I don't think she's told too many people, but Maddie Sullivan has decided to be baptized this coming Sunday, correct? And she wanted her youth group family to be a part of that, okay? And so it's going to happen this coming Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on the Harpeth River. So if you would like to come and celebrate that with her, we want you to be a part of that. So we're going to meet here at 4, and we're going to actually take a church bus over, the youth bus there, and we're going to take it and kind of encourage her and support her in that. And that's something we're excited about. So we want to celebrate that. We want you to celebrate with her, and as we know God and everyone else is celebrating as well. So we're super proud of you, Maddie, and we want to be there for you for that. So hopefully you can be there, guys. Again, I'll announce it again Sunday, but let that also be known. Also, I believe Emily has an announcement. You can announce it from there if you'd like.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
So like starting October 8th-ish, if that works for the girls. I'm gonna start a girls' devotional. We'll have it here. It'll be at night, like 6:30 to 7:30, something around there. And we're just gonna be talking about girl stuff and God. So be there.
Girls
if
and
you
God.
swear.
There you go. Do we have a name for the Devo? Is it Girls and God?
Girls and God.
Girls and God. All right. Hey, that's Tuesday night. For those of you wondering, October 8th. That looking to be the first one is Tuesday night. I'll make sure the building's unlocked and y'all can have this space. I'm not gonna. This is all her led. Okay, so I'm not gonna be here for that, but I will make sure the facilities are open to you all, and I'll kind of probably figure out make sure they don't get at you. All right. Does everyone understand that? And then I think y'all are going to decide the frequency of that and how y'all do that from there. So that's just the initial one. So if you want to be a part of that, talk with Emily. Make sure you're here. Did you say 7 to 8?
6:30 to 7:30.
6:30 to 7:30. Be here 6:30. All right. That's
Unless
October
that needs
8th.
to be changed.
That's awesome. All right. Hey, make sure you talk with her. If you have a conflict, she's willing to work on that schedule. So talk with Emily. But that's something really cool that she's getting started for you guys. All right. All right, any other questions, anything we have going on? All right. Hey, I know some of you are like really zoned in with your phones right now, so here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you would, go ahead and put those in your pocket. We're going to pray, and then we're going to go ahead and start our worship time, okay? All right. This is the I'm going to consider my time with Jesus now, Luke and Grace, in the pocket. Y'all got pockets? Y'all got pockets. Put in your pocket. All right. Hey, let me pray for you guys. We're going to start the worship, all right? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much just for the blessing it is to be here with this group of students and these guys. God, we are just in awe of you. God, you bless us beyond understanding. You see the things in our life and you just bless us so many ways. God, I pray that tonight, even if our students are in a season where they don't see those blessings, where all they see is failure, all they see is struggle, that they see the ways that you have blessed them. The ways that you've sent your Son and shown love and shown grace and mercy. God, I just pray that for any of our students here that haven't encountered Christ, haven't encountered God, this tonight be that time. And God, I pray that because you have the ability to show yourself to any of us at any time. And God, we believe that and we thank you for that you have the willingness to have a relationship with us, God. Let our worship be a time where we seek that, where we're looking forward to that. And let our discussion be a time of thought-provoking but challenging, that we consider our lives. And then we spend our times in small group discussing one another, building that community. God, we thank you so much for Encounter and what this means, but more we thank you for your part in it. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Pour the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only.
Alright, so a lot of you kind of know what's going to happen when we have these side questions. It typically means we're going to talk about something that should be relevant to you and your culture. Alright, so a lot of times we come in here and we talk about what, Lynn used this word earlier, we call churchy things, right? We talk about forgiveness, we talk about praying, reading your Bible, having faith through tough times, and hey, those are all good topics, and to be honest with you, typically that's what we are going to talk about here, because those are very important things. But sometimes, like tonight, we're gonna take a break from some of that. We're gonna talk about some stuff that's relevant to you all. Something that's going in your life, something that's very practical. If we know what that means, it means something that is relevant and contemporary to you guys. And so tonight's gonna be one of those nights. And I'm just gonna tell you what we're talking about. Go ahead to the next slide. We're talking about babies. Yes! All right. Give it up. I know. All right. So some of you listen. Some of you listen. Shh. Some of you just got weird because you're like vaping, talking about vaping in church. That doesn't sound right. And hey, why are we all checking out here at lesson time? We got to learn to control our bladder.
They're vaping.
All right. Hey. So listen. There's three groups of people you probably fall in right now. Okay. Some of you are in the crowd right now and you don't even know what vaping is, all right? And hey, that's good, that's fine. You know what vaping is? Let me just give you a quick breakdown, all right? Vaping is basically an electronic version of smoking. That's the simplest way to put it. There's different devices, they have different names, but it's an electronic way of smoking, okay? All right, so that's the first group of people. If you fall in that crowd, tonight is still for you. All right? Now, there's single people. Some people know what vaping is. They see people vape, but they don't do it. Like, they don't participate in it. They never have, and they imagine they never will. And if that's you tonight, that's cool too. All right? Tonight is still for you as well. Now here's the third people. Some of you may have like a vape pen in your pocket now. I don't know. You may have one in your car. And listen, tonight, if that's you, tonight's not about judging you. Tonight's not about showing you that God doesn't love you, because that's not the case. God does love you. And tonight's not about telling other people to judge you. That's not what tonight's about. And really, hey, if we're going to break this down, tonight's not even about vaping. Tonight's not really even about vaping. Tonight's really about making decisions and learning to make wise decisions. We're going to use vaping more as an illustration than anything, because it's really the thing that's most relevant to you. Like, if my youth minister was going to do it to me, know to be on? Babies. No, to be on smokeless tobacco, because that's where my head is. All right? Everybody my head is a bit. So we see that the things change, but the practical side of this lesson matters. So whether you say, man, I don't vape, this isn't for me, that's not true, okay? Because there's going to be things in your life that come along, decisions you have to make, and you have to say, am I going to choose what is, I don't think, good or bad or going to get me in trouble, versus what is the wise decision? That's what we're going to get into tonight, okay? All right, so this is important. This is important. This week is for everyone, whether you vaped before or never even thought about it. And the goal today isn't to make, check this out. The goal of today isn't to make those who are vaping feel like worse people. It's not even really, the goal isn't to even get you to quit vaping, even though that'd be great. But like the goal is just to get you to understand there's a different way of thinking. All right? And that's what's so important, because when you're a teenager, guys, let me be real, I suck at this, okay? Like, I made bad decisions, and there's this idea of wisdom that we don't understand when we're teenagers, and so I just want to get you guys to think a different way. And it's not about saying no to drugs, all right? That clearly didn't work, that campaign. But we want you to understand, like, when it comes to me making a decision, it's not always the way I think that it's going to lead me to the best decision, all right? So we're going to get there, all right? So some of you, the first thing you're thinking is like, Preston, why are we talking about vaping? There's so many worse things to talk about, right? Like, we can talk about meth. Okay, meth is horrible, but let me tell you about meth. There's some bad stuff out there. I understand that. I understand there's worse things than that. I understand, like, even in the spiritual world, like, Preston, why are we talking about, like, man, those sinners out there, right? You're over here talking about vaping. There's other stuff going on. I get that. I get that thought. And I'm not here to say vaping is the worst thing. That's not my goal tonight. And so there's this question of, is this even a big deal? Is this even a big deal? And some of you may be asking that question right now. It's like, man, is tonight even worth it? Like, why did I even come tonight? And I'm sorry if you're a visitor, this is a weird night to come. But this is something I want to talk about, okay? Because this is something that's relevant. And like I said, it's not just about vaping, all right? Now, let me make some things clear. I said this earlier, but I want to be real clear about this. Because, hey, statistics say there's probably a few of you that either have vape or still do consistently. And here's what I'm here to tell you. God doesn't love you any less, okay? God does not love you any less. God does not love you any more because you vape. He doesn't love you any less because you do. And here's some other truth that I want some of you to understand. This lesson isn't for you to feel better because you don't. This isn't for you to look down on others and say, hey, I don't vape, you're less than me. That's not what this is about. So if you get that feeling right now, then you are getting the wrong message, all right? Okay, all right, so everybody got that? God doesn't love you more if you don't vape, and He doesn't love you less if you do. So everybody got me? I'll make sure this is clear. We good here? We good? Everybody got that? All right, cool. All right. So, if this week isn't about, if God doesn't love us less, and it's not about judging others, then what is this about? Preston, what are you telling me about tonight? All right, I'm going to get to there. Hey, can we be mature? Like, it's vape, it's hilarious. All right, let's roll in now. All right? There's it. All right. All right. So what is this about? What is this conversation about? It's about learning how to make decisions over things that don't seem like a big deal in the moment, but may be a bigger deal than we realize. Now, some of you are old enough, Mac just turned 18, some of you are 18, 17, some of you have already had moments in your life where you thought something was a small decision and you learned later that it had big effects. Okay? Some of you have already been there. Some of you are too young to experience this yet. So this lesson is for you, and you can get ahead of the game on this, all right? Some of you understand that there's going to be decisions that you make that are going to change your life. And here's the thing. And here's what happens, guys, in middle school. You don't know this yet, but the older you get, the more decisions you make. And the more important the decisions become. Like, it's just the important, like, all of a sudden you find yourself 18 years old, like, holy crap, like, where do these decisions come from? Why am I having to make all these decisions now? And let me go and tell you, as a 29, almost 30-year-old, that they keep happening. They keep happening. Like, now I'm a child, and, like, there's other big decisions, and it's just crazy. All right, so the decisions just keep getting bigger, bigger, bigger. But when we're teenagers, for some reason, we sometimes think these decisions are so small, they're going to be insignificant. And we make decisions based on how small they think we are. But what you see is that we have to make good decisions even in those moments. So here's where we're going to go tonight. We're going to go to the book of Proverbs, right? Y'all know the Proverbs. Proverbs written by Solomon. And here's what I love about Proverbs. See, Proverbs, like the scholars say, that Solomon, the wisest man to ever live, as people say, wrote this book to his son. So this is like future advice that he wanted his sons to have. So I can like picture me like writing to Corbin like, man, this is why I messed up, but I want you to know better. I want you to know what's right. And so that's kind of the visual I have of Solomon. He wants his sons to have this wisdom. And so he leaves behind these like nuggets of knowledge for him. And that's where we're going to find ourselves in chapter 4 of Proverbs, as we see this knowledge that he leaves them, and it's all about wisdom and how to obtain wisdom and the importance of wisdom, okay? Check this out. It's Proverbs chapter 4, verses 6 through 7. And he says this, "Don't turn your back on wisdom, for she will protect you. Love her, and she will guard you. Getting wisdom is the wisest thing you can do, and whatever else you do, develop good judgment. Okay? Now, the first thing that some of you think is weird is wisdom is personified as a what? As a girl, all right? Now we do this, don't we? Like, okay, all right, who here can drive? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you can drive. All right, who has named their vehicle? Raise your hand. I kind of helped you name yours. You say what? Okay, what's your vehicle name? What's your vehicle's name? Alyssa the Avalon. All right, what we got? Thunder. Okay. All right, who else is named theirs? Chelsea. Wolf. All right, I don't know about you. I'm sorry, what's your Susie. All right, mine was Sandy because she's beige colored. All right, anyways, like, I don't know about you, but typically you're going to name your car a female name. Like, you personify. You name your vehicle. Hey, what about Lady Liberty? Well, she is a lady, isn't she? Yeah. Okay. Anyways, we personify things and we get to the next. All right, so listen, you got given wisdom. And we personify it as a person. And he talks about wisdom like a woman, and it's the same situation. But check this passage out. Look at the end of this. Here's what Solomon's basically saying. When it comes to decisions that don't seem like a big deal, the best thing we can do is to not turn our back on wisdom. It's to not forget about judgment, like he finishes that verse. To develop good judgment by making a decision even on something that we think is small. See, we have this tendency when something's small to like, hey, we'll just do whatever we want. As long as it's not going to get us in trouble. Not as long as it's not going to make us look bad. But he says, hey, even those times when you think a decision is small, do not turn your back on wisdom. Don't forget about being wise. Think it through. How many times have we been told, think before you make a decision? That's exactly what Solomon's saying here. Like, don't forget the wisdom you've been told when you go to make decisions. Think about it. Ultimately, this is what Solomon's getting at. We have to make decisions all the time. We have to make more of them as we become older. Decisions get more important as we get older. But for some reason, we're teenagers, especially when it comes to things like vaping or smoking cigarettes or any of those things we're talking about. We think of two questions here, typically. All right, I know I'm painting y'all the broad brush, but I'm thinking back to my teenage years. This is what we think about. Here we go. Number one, is it a big deal? The question we had, when someone's vaping, is this really that big of a deal? Is this little electronic device really that big of a deal? Right? That's what we asked. Number two, what's the next one? Can y'all guess?
Am I going to get in trouble?
Very good. Am I going to get in trouble? Will I get in trouble? Okay? Those are the two questions we typically ask. Is this really that big of a deal? And will I get in trouble? And this is what some of you do. Who in here knows what a magic 8-ball is? Okay? Yes. All right. I meant to have a picture of one, but I used to have one of these. And a lot of us, when it comes to decisions, it's like shaking a magic 8-ball. And we shake it up, until finally we get no, and we're like, all right, I'm in. Right? And that's how a lot of us make decisions as teenagers, right? So we don't think this through. We think, all right, is it a big deal? My friend says it's not a big deal. They do it all the time. Will I get in trouble? And they've never got in trouble. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And so we decide based on these two questions, okay? And we decide this. But what I want us to see tonight isn't that God loves you less, because that's not true. Isn't that you're a terrible person, because that's not true. But what I want us to see tonight, it's not really about vaping, like I said, is I think there's a better question to ask. I think there's a better question to ask than is it a big deal and am I getting in trouble? Because when it comes down to it, those things are less important than what I'm going to bring to you. And what Solomon would tell you is this. Ask the question, is it wise? Now, we don't talk a lot about wisdom. We don't even say that a lot of work. I mean, that's probably not very popular in your culture to have a wisdom. Like, probably the wisest kid in your school is probably not the most popular kid. I get that. But it's important to be wise when we're making decisions, even small decisions. Even things we think are small. Now, some of you are like, man, wisdom, what even is that? Let me tell you a little bit about wisdom. Wisdom is figuring out what's good for you and good for you right now. See how there's a difference? There's something that's good for you. There's something that's good for you right now. There's something that's good for you, but it may not be good for you till later. Wisdom is discerning that. Wisdom is saying, hey, I'm only this age. I don't need to be doing this yet. Wisdom is saying, hey, I'm probably not going to get in trouble. I'll probably get caught. But is this still wise? You see the wisdom in that? You see the wisdom in looking towards your future? I told you already, like I wasn't the smartest teenager. I was living for the moment. What's going to not get me in trouble? What's going to make me more profit? Whatever. But do we think more long term? Are we wise in our decision making? So when it comes to vaping, we can talk, argue, debate, and research, but the end goal needs to be the same. Figuring out what's good for you and what's good for you right now. That's wisdom. So as an illustration, let's walk through this together. Let's be wise when it comes to vaping. And you can disagree with me on some of this. That's cool. That's fine. I've done a little research. I haven't done a ton. I've never vaped. I don't know that much about it, but we're going to go through what I do know. To develop wisdom around vaping, specifically, here's some things we need to take into consideration. Number one is it's bad for you, right? Okay, all right. Everything's bad for you. Like, we can debate on this, okay? Let me give you a little bit. Here's some WebMD. Some brands contain chemicals, including formaldehyde, all right? Which, if you've ever had to dissect stuff and you smell something that's terrible, what's that smell? Formaldehyde, exactly. All right. It's often used in building materials. Another ingredient that's used in antifreeze. It causes cancer. Let me get through some of this stats. Just listen up. I know if you're zoning me out, that's cool, whatever. Catherine Hess of the University of California, Berkeley, and her colleagues studied traces of toxic metals in e-liquids and in the 5 top brands of e-cigarettes. Here's what they concluded. The most concerning these metals were nickel, chromium, and manganese. The amounts of them varied between the brands. All 3 metals occur naturally in rock formation of the planet. Inside the body, they can cause trouble. Research suggests that the nickel and certain forms of the chromium cause cancer, and the manganese harms the nervous system. Am I right? Manganese? Manganese. All right. I got 2 different translations. Either way, the M word gets to your nervous system. All right, we got that. All right, hey, listen. But here's the big thing. These things haven't been around long enough to have long-term studies. So the fact is, scientists don't know long-term what these things can do to you. I know you've seen the videos of devices that blow in people's mouth and what they can do immediately. But the fact is, long-term, we don't know, okay? And that's not a good thing, all right? So that's just something you need to know to make a wise decision. I'm not telling you what to decide. I'm saying make a wise decision, all right? So that's one thing you know. Second thing, it's a waste of energy and money. I don't have to go through this point, all right? It's expensive, right? And it takes money, all right? That's a small point. Let's keep going. Number 3, this is big. Y'all, let me go in. This can complicate your home life, all right? For those of you that find yourself in situations, and this goes right along with number 4. I'm going to put number 4 on here. It starts the lying and hiding cycle. All right, some of you have been through this, where you get caught doing something you don't want to, but you want to keep doing it. You start lying, you start hiding, and then you find yourself in a cycle of things you don't want to find yourself in. All right, and all of a sudden you develop distrust with your parents, disrupt your home life, and you start distrusting your siblings. Okay, you get your brother or sister. They ratted you one time, and all of a sudden you're not friends anymore, right? We see how this disrupts life. And now something that started as a small decision that you thought was not small, it's not going to get in trouble, it's not that big of a deal, has now led to something that's complicated relationships between your family and the people you love most, all right? And I know that sounds crazy. I know Professor was just talking about vaping, but I promise you this is real. Let me share something personal with y'all that's embarrassing to me. When I was your age, you know what I struggled with? I already told some of y'all this. Yeah. I struggled with smokeless tobacco. I was a stupid little redneck, okay? All right. But listen. The only reason I tell you that, and it's embarrassing me, because everybody say ooh real loud. Yeah, it's disgusting. All right. This is real. Because I find myself, nicotine's real, addiction is real. I find myself addicted to something that started to form a barrier between my parents and me. Because I want to keep doing something they didn't want. And I got threatened to kick out of the house. I got threatened to all kind of things. And maybe you find yourself in that moment. But let me tell you, these points aren't just on here to scare you. These points are real. Because something that starts out small can end up hurting your life. All right? Here's the last one. For those of you under 18, the fact is true. The 5th point is it's illegal, right? All right? So we don't have to, that's a sound, good judgment argument that we can bring into this. All right. Now, I put all these on here. And this is just a way for you to go through these points and understand, hey, is this a wise decision to me? But it all comes back to what I said earlier. Guys, this is all about decision making. This is you saying, hey, is it good for me? Is it going to get me in trouble? Is it really that big of a deal? Maybe those aren't necessarily the biggest questions. The question, man, is this something that's wise? Is this something that's really wise? Is this something that I can trust in? Some of you asked the question, well, where do we get wisdom? How do we figure out what something's wise? Let me give you one more verse. This is James chapter 1, verse 5. If you need wisdom, ask your generous God, and He will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking. I don't know how many of you have asked that prayer. Where you pray, hey God, I know I'm making some dumb decisions. I know I'm boneheaded sometimes. I need your wisdom. Hey, let me be real with you. I prayed that prayer and I still pray that prayer, okay? There's nothing wrong with praying that prayer. He even says this first, I'm not going to rebuke you for asking. Don't feel bad about asking. We need to ask for God's wisdom. We need to ask for wisdom. And not just wisdom for God, we need to ask our mentors, our guys, people that we look to and say, hey, I need wisdom on this area. And here's the bottom line in this message, and this kind of helps with being wise. Is don't make small decisions alone. Don't make big decisions on, but don't even make small decisions on. Stuff that you think small, man, bring people in and say, hey, like I need people in my life that's going to guide me. Man, we have this feeling as teenagers that we got it all figured out and we can make these big decisions alone, that we know what's good for us, we know what's best for us, right? Yeah, you know, don't make small decisions at all. Bring people in and help them. Ask them for guidance. I'm not even telling you that they make your decisions for you, but at least let them have a voice in your life. Let me tell you something real quick. If you don't have some type of adult that you trust and look up to and let them have a voice in your life right now, you are doing it wrong. Man, there's people, I promise you, in your life right now. If you don't have one, I'll be your voice. I'll try to give you wisdom. I'm not saying I'm the most wise person, but I will be there for you. I've been at least a teenager once, okay? There's people here that want to be that voice of reason. That say, hey, no matter what you're going through, I'm not going to judge you. God doesn't judge you, but I want to be a voice of reason. I want to help you with these small decisions. Let me close this message out, and I want to kind of reiterate some things we said at the beginning. If you don't vape, this is what I want to say to you. Instead of judging what people do, focus on getting wisdom for yourself, because that's the wise thing to do. And take the advice I said earlier. Even maybe if you don't struggle with that particular thing we talked about, use the decision-making tools to say, hey, let me invite other people into that decision. Let me not make big decisions alone or even small decisions alone. Let me not just think, is this a big deal or is this getting me in trouble? Let me think, is this wise? For those of you that do vape, I don't know who you are. I don't need to know. But I want to remind you at the beginning, this is not about God's love. God's love is there for you whether you vape or whatever you're doing, okay? Nothing's going to change the way God thinks about you. God's love isn't based on your decision. It's based on His feeling towards you, right? Everybody understand that? And so that doesn't change that. But we do care about you. And we care about your health. We care about your physical health, and we obviously care about your spiritual health. And we want you to make the wisest decision possible. Think about your future. Think about what's going in your life. All right, let me close this out with this. Last point here. You can change your question. You can change your question from, is this going to get me in trouble? Or is this even a big deal? To, is this wise? You can change your question. You can set yourself up for a better future. Don't make small decisions alone. Invite people in. Invite people in, okay? We're going to take some time in small groups. We're going to have a chance to talk about this. Man, this is time for you to develop those relationships with your guides, with small group leaders, and invite them in a special way. Guys, listen, I know this is a different topic tonight, and next week we're going to be on to a different one. This is a one-night topic. We're going to continue talking about vaping, so don't forget about that. But this is something I want you to think about. But I think more along the lines of decision-making, all right? All right, guys, love you guys. Let me pray for you, and we're going to go to a small group. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your love and your grace in our lives. God, so often we do make dumb decisions. And so often we make decisions based on what we want to do and our desires, and we don't even consider asking you. God, I pray more than anything that we invite you into those decisions. We invite you into our life. We invite you into our journey, and that we seek a relationship with you. God, I pray that for every student here, that they come to know you in a special, special way. God, thank you so much for your love for us, your grace, your mercy, and for sending your Son to die for our sins. In His name we pray. Amen. All right, guys. It's your small groups. Older fellas, I'm with you.
You ready?